Hi everyone, I am Ravikant. In this video, we will learn about the basics of CSS Box Model and padding and margin and how they can be used to create a better web design. A CSS Box Model is a fundamental concept in web designing which helps us to understand how the HTML elements are displayed on the web page. An HTML element is a rectangular box which is made up of four parts, that is content, padding, border and the margin. When we talk about the content is the content area where the actual content of the element is going to display, and the padding is the space between the border and the content area. And when we talk about the border, then border is the outer line around the content, and the last one is the margin. Then margin is the space between two HTML elements. This is one HTML element, this is second, and space between these two HTML elements is the margin. Padding and margin are the two most essential concepts when it comes to web designing. Padding represents the space between the content and the border, while the margin represents the space between the two HTML elements. Let's understand this concept practically in VS Code. Now we are in the VS Code. Now let's create a file, that is index.html. Import the basic document structure and let's create a division tag. Let's create a class for this tag. Class will be container. Okay, this division tag have a class that is container. Let's create a heading h1, another paragraph. Now we have a division tag that is having a class container, and there is a heading h1 in the container, and there is a paragraph inside that container. Now let's observe the result in the browser. Here you can see there is a simple heading and a paragraph. Window plus arrow key. Now here you can see the paragraph and the heading. Now let's create another division tag which is having the same properties. Okay, now we have two division tags which is having a heading and a paragraph. Now we have to apply the style on these division tags. Now let's apply the internal CSS. So just type the style, then hit enter and select the division tag. Both the division tag have the classes that is container. So select that class that is container. Now we have selected that class container. Now let's apply some styling to this class container. Let's say background color and border. Now here you can see there are two division tags which is having a particular heading and paragraph. Now let's try to use the padding and margin. Let's say we'll apply the padding 20 pixel. Here you can see the changes. There is a little bit space between this content. This is whole content, and there is a space between this content and the border. Similarly in the first division and the second division, there is a space. Let's comment this so that you can observe the changes in the browser. Here you can see the space between this heading, paragraph and the border is reduced, because I have told you the padding is the space between the content and the border. So this is the space between the content and the border. Okay, space between the content and the border. Here you can see. Now let's try to apply the margin. Margin, hit enter. Margin is the space between the two HTML elements. Now in the browser we have two HTML elements, that is division tag. Then margin will represent the space between these two division tags. Let's try to use the margin 30 pixels. Here you can see there is just some sort of spacing between the division tag. This whole division tag have a space. Here you can see there is a space. Let's comment this so you can observe the changes. This is called the margin. This will create a space all around the division tag, because margin is what the space between the two HTML elements. We have two HTML elements, that division 1 and division 2, both having the heading and the paragraph, and there is a space around these division tags, left, top, right and bottom. Okay, this is called the margin. But when I comment this margin, here you can see there is just some margin already present, because here you can observe there's some sort of margin is already present. What about this? This is the by default margin. We have to remove this margin by using the universal selector. Universal selector is star. Here we have to type the margin 0 pixel. Now here you can see the margin around the boxes is removed. When I comment this out, there is some sort of margin by default in the browser. So we have to remove this by using the universal selector, that is star. and there is some sort of padding, so remove the padding also. Padding 0 pixel. Universal selector will remove the margin and padding from whole the web page, and we can apply manually. So let's apply the margin 30 pixel. Now you can see both the boxes have the margin, that is top, right, bottom and left. Here you can see the padding and the margin is applied 50 pixel. This 50 pixel is applied in here. This margin and padding is applied like this way: top, right, bottom and left. We can manually type this. Padding will be here. You can see the same padding is applied here. This 50 pixel represent the top, this will right, bottom and left. And there is another way by writing in a similar way. We can type the margin also. We can just type the 30 pixel, 30 pixel, 30 pixel, and we can type the 30 pixel one time also. And there is one shortened property, that is y-axis top and bottom, and second is x-axis left and right. We can use this also. This is used in this way. This can be used as 30 pixel and 30 pixel. Here this 30 pixel represent the top and bottom, and this 30 pixel represent the left and right, x and y direction. Okay, this is the shortened property. These are the properties, that is margin and padding. Padding represent the space between the content and the border. Margin represent the space between two HTML elements. Now let's understand the box model of these tags. So let's open the browser window. If we type the box model in the browser, here we can see the images. Now see, this is our box model, which contain our main content 794 into 160. Then we have padding, then it will have border, then margin. So this is the box model. Let's see this box model. To see the CSS box model, we have to open the developer tool. We can just right click and inspect, and we can directly click F12. By clicking F12, here you can see this is the simple developer option is open, where we have all the elements that we have typed. Here we have the two division tags, in which division tags we have heading and paragraph. Now in the right side you can see there is some option here, that is our box model. Here you can see this is our main content or the main HTML element, which is represented in the form of rectangular box. After the main content we have the padding. After the padding we have the border. Here you can see when I hover over the padding, the color is changing. This is main content, this is padding, this is border, and after the border we have the margin. Margin is all around the HTML element. Okay, let's try to increase the padding. Now see, this is our margin, that is space between the HTML elements, and this is our border, and this is padding, and this is main content. Padding and margin are two most essential properties of CSS that are used to represent the HTML elements. Okay friends, this is it for now. I will catch you up on the next one. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring.